ओके, स्क्रीन विजिबल है, स्टार्ट करूं?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
So this is my lecture number 4, and in this lecture we will going to cover evolution of operating system. किस तरह से ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम का डेवलपमेंट हुआ, किस तरह के ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इनिशियली डिज़ाइन किए गए थे, और लेटेस्ट जो करंटली ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम रनिंग है, जो डिज़ाइन किए जा रहे हैं रियल टाइम ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम, उनका वर्किंग स्टाइल क्या है। सो उसी को हम कहते हैं इवोल्यूशन, उसका डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस, उसका प्रोग्रेस किस तरह से हुआ है। सो लेट्स बिगिन द लेक्चर। Evolution of operating system. First one is serial processing. Second one, batch processing operating system. Third one, multi-programming operating system. Fourth, multi-processor operating system. Fifth, time sharing operating system. And sixth one is real-time operating system. So evolution of operating system defines that what was the initial operating system, how it will be designed, and later on what kind of enhancement we have done in operating system. Then gradually the modern operating system is the real-time operating system. So one by one we will discuss. First is serial operating system. Now, as far as the name suggests, the serial operating system or serial processing operating system contains so many steps for executing a single program. It performs all the steps manually or serially. That is why it is called serial processing operating system. For example, the first step which perform in serial processing operating system is loading of compiler, translator, card deck into memory, right? So suppose we want to execute a C program, right? So currently what you are doing, you are just open IDE, that is the console, and you are start writing the C programs on that console or IDE, and you directly press some button like Alt F9 or Control F9, and your program will execute within a short period of time. It will take a microsecond or millisecond. But in the previous operating system, which was a serial operating system, you are not able to write directly keyboard by keyboard, because the keyboard and mouse and any other input or output devices were not developed. So we have to embed our program into a card deck. And for executing that particular program, we have another programs called compiler or translator, which translate the programs which are written into a card deck. Now, here we want to define the term a card deck, like you are using your ATM card where there is a micro SIM in which your all the account details are embedded into the SIM by using some circuits, by designing some circuit and putting all the information related to your name, related to your bank account and everything. So when you enter your ATM card into the ATM machine, that machine will read all the information from this micro card, right? In the same way, in the previous operating system, that is serial processing operating system, there is a device named card deck where user or programmer has to write the programs by making some holes. You can consider a punch card in this way, right? So card deck is as good as the punch card, where information is stored by putting some holes into the card. So programmer have to write programs onto card deck, and the card deck will insert to the machine, and machine must have another program named compiler or translator, which is used to translate the programs written on card deck, right? So first of all, what we have to do, we have to load compiler programs or translator, whatever program is required. We have to load compiler or translator and card deck into memory. So this is the first step which we have to perform in the serial processing system. Now the second step, load source program deck into memory. Now the second step, what we have to do in second step, we have to load our source program into a card deck, and source program deck will load into the memory. So in the first step, what we have load, compiler or translator card deck into the memory, and second step, we have to load source program deck into a memory. So here compiler and translators are some programs which are written into the card deck that will be loaded into memory, because before executing any program, there must be a translator or compiler. If there are no compiler or translator exists into the primary memory, there will be no execution at all. So we must have compiler or translator first of all into primary memory. And then we provide the source program. Again, we have to write source program into card deck, and then that particular deck will enter or insert into the memory. So now primary memory contains two things, compiler or translator first, and then memory contain our source program. Now the third step, what we have to perform in the third step in serial processing operating system, execute to produce translated object code on card deck or paper tape. So in previously in the serial processing operating system, there is no concept of storing the data in secondary memory. So we have to use paper tape or card deck as a secondary memory. So if you want to store the data permanently, if you want to store the output of our program permanently, we have to use card deck and paper tape. So similarly, in the step third, we have to produce translated object code, and that object code will store on card deck or paper tape. So in the third step, we got the object code, right? So this is the step number 3. Now step number 4, whatever the object code is produced in step number 3, after translating the source code, we have to load that object code into memory, right? So as you are observing that we have to perform each and everything in serially or manually. There are so many experts we required. That means one expert we required for loading the compiler or translator card deck into memory. Another expert we required which writes some source program into card deck. Then it will load into the memory. Another expert is required which translate the object code, translate the source code and convert it into object code, and again write onto the card deck or paper tape. Another expert is required which load object code into a memory, right? So we have required so many experts. Now the step number 4, load linker code into the memory. You know that if we are not linking the files required to the source program, our source program will not execute properly. It will start generating the error or warning. So linker code must be load into the memory. In current scenario, linker, loader, compiler, translator, everything is embedded into the IDE. We need not to load into the primary memory. When we start the computer and we start the Turbo C3 IDE, all things are automatically loaded into the primary memory. And if you observe that only a single user is required to execute a single program, that if you are considered as a user to yourself, you start writing the program into the IDE, and after at the end of after completing your programs, what you have to do, you just compile the program and execute the programs, and you will get result onto the monitor. This is very easy process in current scenario because there are so many development already have done into the operating system which provide you this type of convenient process. But in the previous serial processing operating system, we have to do each and everything serially. Then we are able to execute a single program, right? So in the step number 5, we required some linker file or a linker code that should be linked with our program, because if there is no linking with our programs, then our program will not execute properly. So we have to load linker code into a memory. So this is the step number 5. Now, after loading the linker code into the memory, it will connect it to our programs. And step number 6, execute to load relevant system libraries into memory to produce executable code. Now, you know that there are some loader program also available. So in step number 6, we have to load loader programs libraries into the memory so that our executable code properly produced. Now, after executable code we got, in the step number 7, we start run executable code. Read in relevant data card on demand. Then step number 9, produce result plus source code and or error message plus source code on printer. So after executing our source program or our executable code, what we get, we get a proper result plus source code, or we can get some error message plus source code. So there are no interaction between the user and source code. As you are interacting currently with your C program, after compiling your C program source code, you will get some error or warning in your screen, but there are no provision to handle the error or warning and in the serial processing, right? So we got the result on printer, that means we got the result in hard copy. Then we get to chance what we have done, the result is correct or with error. So produce result plus source code. It may be generate right result, or it may be generate result with error message. So जो भी result होगा वो हमें finally जब printer के through जो print आता था, उस print में ही हमें पता चलता था कि हमारा output सही है और गलत है. अगर सही है so we will accept our output with source code, और अगर error message आता है so again we have to follow the serial processing steps for generating the proper output. So step number 9 में अगर किसी प्रोग्राम में एग्जीक्यूशन के बाद अगर एरर आती है तो उस एरर का इंटरेक्शन इन बिटवीन एग्जीक्यूशन यूजर का नहीं होता था. तो यूजर उस एरर से और वार्निंग से कभी भी इंटरेक्ट नहीं कर पाता था. दैट इज द रीजन कि उससे फिर से पूरी प्रोसेस अप्लाई करनी होगी, right? So these are some steps which are required for serial processing operating system, and it is so cumbersome and time processing operating system because it was the first evolution of operating system. और हमें पता है कि जब किसी चीज़ का डेवलपमेंट स्टार्ट होता है तो जब वो इनिशिएट होता है तो कई सारी प्रॉब्लम के साथ इनिशिएट होता है. देन लेटर ऑन वी रिड्यूस द प्रॉब्लम्स एंड इनहेंस द वर्किंग स्टाइल. और वो और ज़्यादा इफेक्टिव बनता चला जाता है क्योंकि उसके अंदर डेवलपमेंट होना स्टार्ट हो जाता है. उसकी जो प्रॉब्लम्स है दैट विल बी स्टार्ट ओवरकमिंग दैट प्रॉब्लम्स और वो और ज़्यादा इफिशिएंट होना स्टार्ट हो जाता है. तो इसी को हम इवोल्यूशन कहते हैं, इसी को हम डेवलपमेंट कहते हैं. पहले कुछ चीज़ें एरर के साथ स्टार्ट होती है, देन लेटर ऑन वो एरर हटनी स्टार्ट हो जाती है और फिर उसके अंदर इफिशिएंसी आनी स्टार्ट हो जाती है. So this is how the serial processing operating system works in different steps. Now let's talk about the advantage of serial processing operating system. The first advantage of serial processing operating system is program can directly be developed by translating instructions into binary code. This was the first advantage that program directly develop हो जाता था और बाइनरी कोड में वो डिज़ाइन हो जाता था. तो बाइनरी कोड में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए कोई एक्सपर्ट या किसी तरह के प्रोग्राम्स की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं थी. नाउ सेकेंड, इनपुट आउटपुट डिवाइसेस कैन बी कंट्रोल्ड बाय एग्जीक्यूटिंग द प्रोग्राम डायरेक्टली. इनपुट आउटपुट डिवाइसेस भी कंट्रोल्ड होती थी जब भी प्रोग्राम हमारा डायरेक्टली एग्जीक्यूट होता था. नाउ सम disadvantage is also available of serial processing operating system. Too much manually or operator and user dependency. As we know that we have to perform the 9 steps for executing a single program, we required so many manually steps, right? We have to perform so many steps manually or serially, or in order to perform the serially task we have to require so many operators, right? A single operator cannot perform all the 9 steps, right? So there are so many user dependencies. If loader expert is not available, we cannot able to load the program into Cardec, right? If linker expert is not available, then we cannot able to load the linker program into memory, right? So there are so many user dependencies are also available. Disadvantage, too high setup time. You know that we have to perform the 9 steps. So for executing a single program, it will take a long time to set up. Step number 3, too much device operations. We have to perform so many devices. We have to use so many devices for executing a single program. Too little CPU utilization, and it required high setup time. It required so many devices for operations. Due to these reasons, there are very little or very less CPU utilization because CPU is continuously waiting for the programs to coming into the primary memory, right? So if program is exist into the primary memory, CPU will start the executing. But if all the programs are not available into primary memory, CPU will not start executing to that program. Therefore, too little CPU utilization. And the fifth is limited availability of system resources. There were no input output devices. There were no any network devices exist. There were no high speed processor exist. So there are so many limitations related to system resources. So this is all about serial processing system, how it works, what are the advantage and what are the disadvantage of serial processing system. And this is very first operating systems. Now later on, the drawback of serial processing system will start overcoming and generate or design the next operating system is called batch processing operating system. Now, in the batch processing operating system, as far as the name suggests, batch means it is a collection of process, collection of program, or collection of jobs. Single program we consider a job, right? So job is the terms which are related to batch processing system. So whenever you listen the term job, that means we are talking about batch operating system. Now let's discuss how batch processing operating system works. Each piece of work for a batch processing is called a job, right? Suppose we want to execute some programs by using the batch operating system or batch processing operating system. A small piece of work for a batch processing system is called a job. A job usually consists of a program and the data to be run, right? What is job? So job is nothing. It is just a piece of work, a little amount of work or little amount of piece of work we can say. It is a job. And job, what it does contain? So it contains some programs that is to be run. So job usually consists of a program and the data to be run. Jobs are stored in job queue until the computer is ready to process them. We can have number of batches and single batch contain so many jobs. Like we are taking example, like we are designing batch 1 which contain 4 job and each job having some processing time. Like job 1 taking 20 millisecond of CPU for complete their execution. Job 2 is required to 10 millisecond for complete their execution. Job 3 required 20 millisecond time for complete their execution. And job 4 required 15 millisecond to complete their execution. So it is called the processing time of individual job. And all jobs are related to each other, right? We cannot have a different functioning of job in the batch 1. Suppose these are all 4 programs which having the task of printing. Job 1 is also perform the printing, job 2 is also performing the printing, and job 3 also about to perform the printing, and similarly job 4 is also about to perform printing. So all 4 jobs are performing the same function, that are printing work. So related functioning, we can create a batch 1. In the same way, we can create batch 2, which might be have so many jobs, but their function will be same, right? And this is called queue. Job number 1 comes first into queue, so it will work in queue data structure manner. First in, first out. So job which comes first will execute first. That is the queue manner. So it is one kind of data structure which is used to store the job. So the execution of job, inserting of the job in the batches will work on the basis of data structure called queue. Now users submit job containing source code plus JCL. Now here another term introduced, JCL. In the batch processing system, there is a program called job controlling language. It's called JCL. Like currently you are using compiler or interpreter. Similarly, in the batch processing system, for scheduling the task, we require a programs JCL, job controlling language. That means it schedule the job, which job came into the queue, that will be executed first, right? So in order to perform this kind of task, we required another program is called JCL. So user first you have to submit job which contains source code and JCL. Operator forms a batch of similar type of jobs after consulting the commands. Now what operator does? Operator forms a batches, right? It perform batches for a similar type of job. जितने भी जॉब क्यू के अंदर एंटर हुई है वो उसकी फंक्शनलिटी को देखेगा और अगर वो रिलेटेड है तो रिलेटेड जॉब को एक बेच बनाकर रखेगा. सो दिस इज द वर्क ऑफ ऑपरेटर कि इट फॉर्म्स अ बेच ऑफ सिमिलर टाइप ऑफ जॉब्स आफ्टर कंसल्टिंग द कमांड्स. और बेच बनाने के लिए हमें कमांड यूज करना पड़ता है बेच. तो इस कमांड से हम सिमिलर टाइप की जॉब्स का बेच बनाना स्टार्ट कर देते हैं. देन ऑपरेटर लोड्स दैट बेच ऑफ जॉब टू द डिस्क. फिर वो डिस्क में उन बेचेस को लोड कर देगा. ऑपरेटर रन्स द प्री लोडेड सॉफ्टवेयर मॉड्यूल compiler and interpreter to produce the executable version of each job after linking the relevant library. Now batch processing system में भी हमें कंपाइलर और इंटरप्रेटर जो प्री लोडेड सॉफ्टवेयर होते थे वो ऑलरेडी सिस्टम में लोड होते थे. कोई एक्सपर्ट हमें नहीं लगता था कि इन्हें इन प्रोग्राम्स को वापस से कार्ड डेक में राइट करके लोड करें. सो ऑपरेटर के लिए एक बेनिफिट हो जाता था बेच प्रोसेसिंग ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम में कि इसको केवल एक रन करना है कंपाइलर और इंटरप्रेटर प्रोग्राम्स को ताकि वो एग्जीक्यूटेबल वर्जन्स जनरेट कर पाए. मतलब जो बेच एंटर हुए हैं उन बेच वाले प्रोग्राम्स को एग्जीक्यूटेबल वर्जन में कन्वर्ट कर पाए, राइट. और उससे पहले उसमें लिंकिंग होनी भी स्टार्ट हो जाएगी. जो जो लाइब्रेरीज उसकी रिक्वायर्ड होगी वो लाइब्रेरीज उस प्रोग्राम के साथ ऐड हो जाएगी, लिंक हो जाएगी और फिर एक एग्जीक्यूटेबल वर्जन वाला कोड तैयार हो जाएगा. नाउ स्टेप नंबर 5. इन केस ऑफ एनी एरर occurs during processing, particular job operator abort that job and process source printout with error message. अब कोई भी बेच जब रन होता है सो वहाँ पर कोई भी एरर अगर आती है तो वो फाइनली जब प्रिंट आउट आएगा तभी उसको पता चलेगा कि उसके बेच के अंदर कौन से जॉब में एरर है. सपोज जॉब 1 सक्सेसफुली कंप्लीट हो गया, जॉब 2 का रिजल्ट प्रॉपरली जनरेट हो गया, जॉब 3 में एरर है और जॉब 4 कंप्लीटली सक्सेसफुल हो चुका उसका एग्जीक्यूशन. तो ये बात हमें कब पता चलती है बेच प्रोसेसिंग सिस्टम में? जब उसका फाइनली प्रिंट आउट हमारे हाथ में आएगा, राइट. तो अगर किसी भी जॉब में एरर है तो जब वो प्रोसेस हो रहा होगा तब यूजर का इंटरेक्शन उस जॉब की एरर के साथ नहीं होता. तो ये बेच प्रोसेसिंग सिस्टम का डिसएडवांटेज बन जाता है कि जब बेच के अंदर के जॉब का एग्जीक्यूशन हो रहा हो तब किस जॉब में एरर है वो उसी समय उसको नहीं देख पाता, वो उसी समय उस प्रोग्राम्स को एबॉर्ट नहीं कर पाता. So in case of any error occur during processing a particular job, operator aborts that job and process source printout with error message. Operator execute each executable jobs in batch in strict sequence as it appears in the batch. क्योंकि ऑपरेटर उनको एक क्यू स्ट्रक्चर के बेस पे एंटर करता है तो जो भी बेच के अंदर जो प्रोग्राम्स हैं वो जिस ऑर्डर में एंटर हुए हैं उसी ऑर्डर में उनका एग्जीक्यूशन भी होगा. So these are some steps which is used to perform the batch processing operating system. Now, advantage of batch processing operating system: reduce the CPU idle time due to slow manual operations. यहाँ पे CPU का जो आइडियल टाइम है वो थोड़ा रिड्यूस हुआ क्योंकि हमने कई सारी जॉब को एक बेच के अंदर रखा। अब एक बेच रन होता है तो उसके अंदर कई सारे प्रोग्राम एक साथ रन होते हैं, एग्जीक्यूट होते हैं। तो इससे सीपीयू का आइडियल टाइम थोड़ा सा रिड्यूस हुआ। ऑफर ग्रेटर थ्रूपुट देन सिंपल सीरियल प्रोसेसिंग। तो जो थ्रूपुट की बात करें कि टोटल यूनिट ऑफ टाइम में कितने प्रोग्राम्स रन हुए, सो सीरियल प्रोसेसिंग के कंपैरिजन में कुछ ज़्यादा प्रोग्राम्स जनरेट हुए थे, उनके एग्जीक्यूटेबल कोड जनरेट हुए थे। सो वी कैन से द बेच प्रोसेसिंग ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम हैविंग द ग्रेटर थ्रूपुट एज कंपेयर टू सीरियल प्रोसेसिंग ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम, क्योंकि वहाँ पे हमें एक सीरियल मतलब सिंगल प्रोग्राम्स हमें एग्जीक्यूट करना होता था, और यहाँ पर हम कई सारे प्रोग्राम्स एक साथ एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं। नाउ disadvantage of batch processing operating system: no much more improvement as compared to serial processing। बहुत ज़्यादा इम्प्रूवमेंट नहीं हुआ था। यदि हम सीरियल प्रोसेसिंग की बात करें तो बेच प्रोसेसिंग में केवल दो नए कॉन्सेप्ट आए थे कि वहाँ पर एक क्यू का कॉन्सेप्ट आ गया था, जिसके अंदर हम जॉब को एक प्रॉपर सीक्वेंस से अंदर करते थे और उसी सीक्वेंस से उसका एग्जीक्यूशन होता था। और दूसरा उसमें एडवांटेज ये था कि एक बेच के अंदर कई सारे जॉब जो कि रिलेटेड फंक्शन परफॉर्म करने वाले हैं, वो रिलेटेड फंक्शन परफॉर्म करने वाले प्रोग्राम्स को हम जॉब्स कहते थे, और जॉब्स का कलेक्शन बेच बनता था, और वो बेच डायरेक्टली रन होता था, राइट। सो यहाँ से हमें थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा थ्रूपुट मिला था। बाकी इसके अलावा और कोई इम्प्रूवमेंट नहीं थे। मेमोरी का नेचर वही था, इनपुट आउटपुट डिवाइसेस लिमिटेड थी, रिसोर्सेस लिमिटेड थे। तो ये प्रॉब्लम्स बेच प्रोसेसिंग ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम में भी थी। नाउ टर्न अराउंड टाइम इज क्वाइट लॉन्ग, क्योंकि बेच के अंदर रिलेटेड प्रोग्राम्स है, रिलेटेड जॉब्स है, तो हर एक जॉब का टर्न आने में टाइम लगता था। अगर आपने 10 जॉब जो कि रिलेटेड फंक्शन परफॉर्म करने वाली है, उन 10 जॉब्स का आपने एक बेच बनाया है, तो जो फर्स्ट में एंटर हुआ था उसका एग्जीक्यूशन भी फर्स्ट में होगा, देन उसके बाद सेकेंड, देन थर्ड। तो 10th नंबर की जॉब का टर्न आने में टाइम लगेगा। और अगर क्यू बढ़ती चली गई, क्यू की साइज आपने ज़्यादा रखी है, दैट मीन्स द टर्न अराउंड टाइम इज क्वाइट लॉन्ग। So this become the disadvantage of batch processing system. If the size of queue is longer, the turnaround time is quite longer. Now this third, speed of mechanical input output device are much slower than CPU. That is the problem which are currently being exist कि कोई भी input output devices CPU के comparison में work नहीं कर पाती है, because central processing unit works in gigabyte speed. It can execute millions, trillions of instructions within a short period of time, within a millisecond of time. But input and output devices cannot enter the data into the primary memory as much speed. So the speed of mechanical devices like input devices and output devices are not compatible with the speed of CPU. That is why it is become the disadvantage of batch processing system. So we have covered serial processing system and batch processing system. Now in the next topic, multi-programming operating system. Now the next development in the operating system was we can have more than one program into the primary memory, and operating system are capable to execute more than one program, and it are able to fetching more than one program from the memory. So this kind of operating system is called multi-programming. So as far as the name suggests, multi-programming means more than one program. Multi means more than one, and programming means your programs or source code. Now after batch operating system, to increase the system throughput and resource utilization, classes of operating system that multiplex resources of computer system among multiple active programs were evaluated. They are multitasking, multi-programming, and multi-user. So in the multi-programming operating system, we can able to execute more than one program. We are able to load more than one program into primary memory, and CPU are able to execute more than one program into from the primary memory. It can fetch the programs from memory, and it will execute the program and generate the result simultaneously. So these are capabilities will exist into the operating system. That operating system is called multi-programming. And multi-programming divided in three different category. It may be a multitasking, it may be a multi-programming, and it may be a multi-user. So let's discuss one by one. What is multitasking, right? So if operating system is said to be a multitasking operating system, what does it mean? So an instance of program in execution is called process. We have already talked about what is process and what is program, and what are the difference between the process and program. So program is an passive entity where process is active entity, or we can say any instance of program is called process. So program at the time of execution is called process. A multitasking operating system is distinguished by its ability to support concurrent execution of two or more active processes. So it is clear that when we talk about the multitasking, multi means it stands for more than one process, more than one, and task means process or any instance of a program. So if we execute more than one process in the primary memory, we can say we are performing the multitasking. So here is the definition of multitasking. A multitasking operating system is distinguished by ability to support concurrent execution of two or more active processes. That means we can have two or more than active processes into the primary memory, and their execution is concurrent. Multitasking is usually implemented by maintaining code and data of processing in memory simultaneously and multiplexing processor and input output devices amongst them. Now process has their own text data stack. If we talk about more than one process which are currently activated in the primary memory, that means it is currently processing. So every process must have its own text data stack region. Every process has its own TDS part. At the concurrent execution, we need to manage all the process associated with their own TDS as well as their input output resources. Because protection and security is also a major concern of operating system, it have to maintain the execution of individual process in the secure manner, right? And in order to provide the security and protection to a process, it must have provide some different reason to a different process into the primary memory. So TDS must be secure, and the related input output resources is also secured, because each process having different resources. Now, this is called a multitasking. Now, multiprogramming means, the term multiprogramming denotes an operating system that, in addition to supporting multitasking, providing sophisticated form of memory protection and enforces concurrency control when process access shared input-output devices and files. Multiprogramming operating system usually support multi-users. So when more than one user directly connected with the operating system, that means more than one programs definitely exist in the primary memory. And there must be a concurrent execution, or concurrent execution must be available into the primary memory, right? And it might use or access the shared input output devices. So this is called multiprogramming, where more than one program simultaneously execute in the primary memory. More than one program shared the input output devices and files, right? And there are so many concurrency control policy must be exist, which control all the program in this individually. And the third one is multi-user operating system. So if more than one user interact with the operating system, that operating system is called multi-user operating system. So as far as the name suggests, we can define the definition, we can write the definition of multi-user operating system. So more than one user interact with the operating system, more than one user execute our program by using the memory of server, by using the secondary memory of server, by using the clock of CPU. So more than one user is working simultaneously with computer system called multi-user system. This is the very basic definition of multi-user operating system. Every user has its own user area. As I told you, there are a protection and security policy of operating system. If operating system work as a multi-user operating system, it must provide U area to a individual user, because every user have its own task, its own program, and its own data structure. It has to be protected by operating system. So somehow operating system provide a different area or region in the primary memory. That particular region is called user area. So every user has its own user area, and they are ready to perform their own task or process. And all user area are protected with certain ID. All processes which are executing by multi-user will be managed by operating system. Here is example of multi-user operating system is Linux, Unix, Mac, Solaris, Ubuntu. These are multi-user operating system. In general, multi-programming implies multitasking, but multitasking does not imply multi-programming. That means if we are performing more than one program, that means we are automatically performing multitasking. But if we are performing multitasking, that means more than one process are currently executing, but it is not said to be that we are performing multi-programming. Right? So there are some difference. If we perform the multi-programming, automatically we are performing multitasking in terms of operating system. But if you are performing multitasking, it does not imply we are performing multi-programming. Multitasking is one of the mechanisms that multi-programming operating system employ in managing the totality of computer system resources. Now there are some advantage of multi-programming operating system. Throughput, that means number of jobs executed during a given period of time increases. That means in multi-programming operating system, throughput will increases because it execute so many jobs, so many programs in the given certain time. Response time, the time between submission of request and production of first response from the CPU is called response time. So response time is also increases in multi-programming system. Now disadvantage of multi-programming operating system is it used large memory because we are loading so many programs into the primary memory, and in order to store so many programs we required a large number of memory. So it always accommodate large enough memory for storing the programs. Now scheduling is very tight. It must have some scheduling programs which schedule which program execute first and which one will comes into the next. So some mechanisms is needed to decide which job should be brought from disk to main memory, and similarly scheduling is also needed to decide which program in the main memory is allocated to the CPU first. राइट सो हमें सिलेक्ट करना पड़ता है कि प्राइमरी मेमोरी में तो काफ़ी सारे जॉब्स है, काफ़ी सारे प्रोग्राम्स है, एंड विच प्रोग्राम्स और विच जॉब विल गेट सेलेक्टेड फर्स्ट फॉर द सीपीयू. सीपीयू किससे पहले एग्जीक्यूट करेगा, किससे पहले रन करेगा, दैट विल बी सिलेक्टेड और suggested by some policies called scheduling. So scheduling is very complex and very tight in the multi-programming system. Such scheduling is required so that a proper mix of input output and CPU bound jobs are present in the memory for effective utilization of CPU. कभी कभी तो ऐसा भी होता है कि कई सारी जॉब्स और उनके साथ साथ इनपुट आउटपुट भी मिक्स होते हैं, क्योंकि हर एक प्रोग्राम का कुछ ना कुछ इनपुट आउटपुट की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है. फॉर एग्जांपल यदि हमने कोई प्रोग्राम्स है जिसका जो आउटपुट डिवाइसेस है वो प्रिंटर की रिक्वायरमेंट करता है, कुछ आउटपुट डिवाइसेस प्रोजेक्टर की रिक्वायरमेंट कर सकता है, कुछ आउटपुट डिवाइस प्लोटर की रिक्वायरमेंट कर सकता है. तो देर आर सो मेनी प्रोग्राम्स विच रिक्वायर्ड सम डिफरेंट आउटपुट डिवाइसेस और इनपुट डिवाइसेस. तो इनपुट आउटपुट डिवाइसेस इज ऑल्सो कनेक्टेड विद द प्रोग्राम्स, और उस केस में हमें शेड्यूलिंग करना है कि अभी प्रिंटर इस प्रोग्राम को लग रहा है, स्कैनर इस पर्टिकुलर प्रोग्राम्स के रिक्वायरमेंट में है, राइट. सो इस केस में एक कॉम्प्लेक्स स्ट्रक्चर तैयार हो जाता है और उसमें भी हमें उसकी प्रॉपर शेड्यूलिंग करनी पड़ती है. तो शेड्यूलिंग इज बिकम अ डिसएडवांटेज इन द मल्टी प्रोग्रामिंग सिस्टम. मेमोरी प्रोटेक्शन, because we are performing more than one program into the memory, and if we not secure the data structure of program, that means we lost our data structure at the end of execution. क्योंकि सब डेटा स्ट्रक्चर एक दूसरे के प्रोग्राम में मिक्स हो जाएगा अगर हम उसको प्रोटेक्ट करके नहीं रखेंगे तो मेमोरी प्रोटेक्शन इज ऑल्सो अ मेजर कंसर्न इन मल्टी प्रोग्रामिंग सिस्टम. सो प्रोटेक्शन मैकेनिज्म्स शुड बी यूज्ड so that the program in a particular area of memory are prevented from changing information or instruction of other programs. So every process has its own TDS. T means text part of the process, D means data structure part of process, and S means stack portion of process. So all TDS part of individual process must be secured in the memory, and in order to provide the security and protection, it is a column, or we can say it is one attribute called valid and unvalid. We will discuss on later when we start the unit number 3. So we will talk about the process table, how the process table manage into the primary memory, how so many processes with process ID and their valid and invalid checks are contained into the page table, process table, and so many things which provide protection to the process. So operating system have so many policies by which it can protect TDS of individual process into the memory. And for this protection management, we can have so many programs easily we can run into the primary memory as we are currently running team software, PPT and DOS and internet and so many programs. So these are protected into the primary memory. No data structure will clash to each other. This is the beauty of operating system. It provides so many protections to our individual process or programs. So this is all about the today's lecture. We have covered three different types of operating system. We already talked about the serial processing operating system, batch processing operating system, and multi-programming operating systems. And multi-programming operating system, we have discussed multi-user multitasking. Right? In the next lecture, we will cover multi-processor operating system, time sharing, and real-time operating systems. Right? So one questions which might be asked into the GTO that what are the evolution of operating systems? You have to write all the 6 operating system, or GTO might ask that explain the types of operating system. Again, the same answer you have to write. So these are evolution also, and these are types of operating system as well as. So this is all about the today's lecture content.